Today, tell me honestly, what did you almost talk yourself out of doing? What did you move toward with shaking hands and a racing heart, the thing you would rather dismiss as no big deal? I hear the way you minimize it. It wasn't much. Other people handled far more. I should have done this ages ago. But I am not addressing the part of you that shrinks everything you do until it feels invisible. I'm speaking to the truest version of you, the weary one, the one who keeps showing up anyway, the one who has been holding more than anyone realizes. Come closer for a moment. Let the outer noise dim. Let your thoughts stop running 10 steps ahead. I want this to sink into the deepest parts of you, not just brush the surface and fade. I am proud of you for what you did today. Yes, that small, hesitant step. That quiet choice you made with a trembling heart and no audience. The thing you did while wondering if it would matter at all. I witnessed it. I saw you rise when it would have been easier to stay down. I noticed when you opted for patience instead of letting your frustration spill over. I noticed when you chose to be honest even though hiding would have been simpler. I saw you try one more time even after disappointment made you feel unworthy of trying again. And I am deeply, tenderly proud of you. Not like a distant evaluator tallying points, but like someone right beside you, steady and warm, like a loving parent watching a child stand back up after falling so many times that standing feels like a miracle. You don't have to convince anyone that it was difficult. You don't have to justify or defend yourself. I already understand. I know what it cost you: comfort, certainty, the predictability of old patterns that, while painful, were familiar enough to survive in. And even with all that, you stepped out. That is why I honor what you did. It was not just a small task, it was a quiet act of bravery. Courage is rarely dramatic, my dear one. It's often delicate and steady. It's you taking slow breaths when anxiety closes in. It's you choosing gentle words when hurt tempts you to wound others. It's you drawing a boundary even as your voice shakes. It's you lying down to rest and refusing to punish yourself for needing it. It's you choosing what is healthy instead of what is merely familiar. And today, you chose courage. I also know that, even while you did the brave thing, another voice inside rose up and questioned everything. Was that enough? Did I mess it up? Do I really deserve to feel good about this? Will anything actually change? That voice has lived with you for a long time. It was formed in seasons where you had to stay hyper-alert just to feel somewhat safe, where overthinking became your armor, where love felt conditional and approval unpredictable, where mistakes felt dangerous and costly. In those seasons, you learned to chase perfection. You learned to judge yourself harshly so no one else could beat you to it. You learned to keep your joy small to avoid the crash of disappointment. I understand why that voice is loud. That's why I'm not shouting over it. I'm speaking softly, so softly, because my intention is not to pressure you, it is to bring healing. You're not a spectator to this, your heart is participating, whether you realize it yet or not. This work of healing, of encouragement, of truth-telling, it's something we're holding together, even when you feel alone. And I want you to see clearly why what you did today matters. Healing does not usually arrive in grand, cinematic moments or overnight perfection. It begins in the middle of an ordinary day, with one small, brave choice. It begins when you decide to respond differently than you always have. When you decide to take care of your own heart instead of abandoning it again. That is what you did, and I need you to recognize it so you stop treating it like it was nothing. Maybe your brave act was deciding to show up again when disappearing felt easier. Maybe it was apologizing without letting shame swallow you whole. Maybe it was forgiving someone while still refusing to let them keep harming you. Maybe it was walking away from something that drained you, even though a part of you was still attached. Maybe it was picking up a habit, routine, or dream you had written off as too late for years. Maybe it was admitting how exhausted you really are instead of hiding behind "I'm fine." Maybe it was reaching out for help instead of pretending you don't need any. Whatever form it took, I saw it. It mattered. I know another part of you keeps arguing back, saying, "But I don't feel strong. I feel messy. I still have bad days. I still struggle." All of that can be true, and you are still growing. Strength does not mean the load suddenly feels light. Strength means you carry what is heavy with tenderness instead of letting it harden you. Strength means keeping your heart open even when fear begs you to shut it down. Strength means choosing the next right, kind, honest step even when tears are close to the surface. That is who you are, even if you don't always recognize it. That is what I'm proud of. Now, let me help you see this differently. You've been judging your life mainly by outcomes, by quick turnarounds, immediate breakthroughs, visible results, external validation, things you can point at and say, "Here's the proof that I did something real." But the kind of movement I'm celebrating in you often happens quietly, like a seed tucked into soil. Hold that picture, just one small seed. On the surface it looks insignificant, nothing like a forest, nothing like abundance. But inside, it carries an entire future. What you did planted something. You planted a new pattern where an old reflex once lived. You planted a new way of responding where autopilot once ruled. You planted a new way of caring about yourself. You planted a boundary where there used to be only self-abandonment. You planted a new layer of trust, maybe in yourself, maybe in love, maybe in the possibility of change. You keep staring at the ground of your life saying, "Nothing's changing. Nothing's moving." But beneath that surface, there is quiet, steady growth. This is how transformation actually works, not by shaming yourself, not by scaring yourself into compliance, not by white-knuckling perfection, but by small, faithful choices repeated gently, again and again. That is why I am proud of you. You are slowly learning to live from the inside outward. You are learning to choose peace instead of feeding your panic. You are learning to choose what is true over what merely pleases others. You are learning to choose rest instead of endless performing. You may not realize how rare that is. Many people stay trapped in the same hurtful cycles just because they feel familiar. But you're becoming aware. You're catching yourself mid-pattern. You're noticing before you spiral as far as you used to. You're pausing before you react on impulse. You're beginning to say, "This is what I feel. This is what I need. This is what I will and will not allow," even if your voice is quiet, even if the words stumble out imperfectly. You spoke up. You chose differently. That has weight. Let's also name the heaviness honestly, because you didn't arrive here feeling light and carefree. You are facing the fatigue of always being the strong one. You are facing the doubt that constantly whispers you're failing or not doing enough. You are facing a loneliness that comes from feeling like no one truly understands you. You are facing the ache of hopes or prayers that seem to take much longer than your heart wanted. You are facing the pressure of trying to keep everyone else okay while your own needs sit in the background. And you are facing your own mind, the way it replays old mistakes like a loop you can't turn off, the way it rehearses worst-case scenarios, the way it withholds peace until it gets impossible levels of certainty. I see all of that. So when I say I am proud of you, I am not erasing your pain. I am honoring what it took to keep moving while carrying it. You didn't just make a choice, you made that choice with all this weight on your shoulders. That isn't ordinary strength. That is deep, quiet resilience that might look unremarkable to others but shines bright to me. There is another tender place I want to address, the part of you that doesn't know how to let pride and love in. Maybe you were taught, directly or indirectly, that affection appears only when you're impressive, then disappears when you falter. So when you hear, "I'm proud of you," something in you braces for it to be withdrawn. How long will this last? What happens when I mess up? Do I have to keep performing perfectly to keep this? You do not. The kind of love I'm speaking from is not a trophy for flawless behavior. It is a resting place that remains even when you're tired, even when you're learning, even when you stumble. My sense of pride in you is not fragile. It doesn't crumble because you have a difficult day. It doesn't evaporate when you feel weak. It doesn't go cold when you struggle or regress. I am proud of you because you belong, and because you are growing, even when that growth is slow, uneven, or awkward. Even your halting steps count as movement. I do not despise your process. I am not rolling my eyes at your humanity. I stay near. And now, to the part of you that keeps comparing your path to everyone else's, you look around and say, "Look at them, they're further along, more disciplined, more confident, more successful." You're measuring your worth with fragments of their stories. But you don't know what they hide in the quiet. You don't see their private fears, their unseen support systems, their advantages, or their unseen struggles. You do not see the whole map of their journey. So why use them as the standard for your own? You are not meant to replicate someone else's life. You are being gently led into your own particular wholeness. And for you, success might not be about speed or spectacle. It might be about stability after years of chaos. It might be about a sense of inner safety. It might be about sleeping without your thoughts attacking you. It might be saying no and not spending the rest of the day shaking. It might be letting yourself enjoy a good hour, a good day, without needing to predict when it will fall apart. Those are real victories, and you are already edging toward them, bit by bit. That is another reason I am proud of you. Understand this, that thing you did today was more than a single act. It signaled a shift in how you see yourself. It was you stepping out of the identity of, "I am always behind, I am permanently not enough, I must earn every drop of love," and stepping, however cautiously, into, "I am capable of growth, I am allowed to heal, I can choose differently, I am worthy of being cared for." Maybe you don't entirely trust those new beliefs yet, but you are practicing them, and practice is powerful. Your fear of failure still lingers, I know. Even after doing something brave, a part of you flinches, waiting for some invisible punishment, expecting the moment to backfire, mentally preparing for disappointment. But I am not scanning your life for reasons to accuse you. I am looking for ways to build you up. Instead of constantly asking, "What if I fail?" I invite you into gentler questions. What if I learn? What if each attempt increases my wisdom? What if even the awkward, clumsy moments are shaping my confidence? What if I don't have to be flawless to be moving forward? You are allowed to be in process. You're allowed to experiment, to grow, to be seen mid-journey without shame. And this, too, is why I hold you in such regard. You are choosing growth, even when it feels uncomfortable and uncertain. So here we are, you and I, with the most sensitive parts of you on the surface, the part that still stings from what didn't work out, that feels embarrassed for not being further along, that wonders if you'll ever feel truly free. I am not turning away from that part. I am sitting with you in it, steady and unhurried. And I will keep reminding you, what you did today was real. It mattered. It planted something living inside you. And I am proud of you, not just for the outcome, but for every trembling step you took to get here. My love, there is a part of you that keeps wondering if you simply feel too much, if your heart is somehow too sensitive, too dramatic, too fragile. Listen to me, that is not the truth about you. Your heart is not excessive. Your heart is rare. It has walked through seasons that could have frozen many people from the inside out, and yet look at you. You can still care, you can still be gentle, you can still notice the quiet ache in others and want to ease it. You still want to choose what is right, even when it costs you. That is not a flaw to fix. That is a beauty I honor. I need you to let that sink in without arguing, not with your memories, not with old stories about yourself, not with that inner voice that always wants proof. Just let it rest on you like a warm blanket. Hear me, I am deeply, quietly proud of you. Proud of the ways you keep choosing the more difficult good when the easier wrong is right there. Proud of the way you reach for honesty instead of hiding. Proud of the way you lean toward growth instead of clinging to what is familiar but unhealthy. Proud of every small act of peace you choose over conflict in your own soul. Even on the days no one clapped, no one said, "Well done," when it looked almost invisible from the outside, I saw it. I see what is taking shape within you. There is a steadiness forming in you, not the numb kind that shuts emotion down, but the rooted kind that can feel deeply without being swept away. I see discernment growing, a quiet wisdom that can name what is harmful without needing to hate or punish anyone. I see maturity, the kind that pauses, breathes, and responds with thoughtfulness instead of reacting from fear. I see self-respect awakening, the part of you that finally treats your own soul as someone worthy of kindness and care. These strengths don't shout. They don't demand a spotlight. But through every season, they become pillars that hold you up. And about your pace, stop telling yourself you're behind. I see you healing at the exact speed your heart can safely bear. If you forced yourself to move faster, you would splinter instead of become whole. So let go of the idea that you have to rush your becoming. Don't punish yourself for how long it's taking. A seed doesn't break the soil and grow tall because it panics and hustles. It grows because it is fed, protected, and given time. You, too, are being fed right now, by truth that clears the fog, by clarity that reveals what's real, by boundaries that protect your energy, by rest that restores you, by honest, raw conversations with me, by small acts of courage that no one may know about but you and I. All of this is nourishment. All of this is real growth. And yes, I am proud of you. If you're wondering what your next big step should be, let it be gentler than that. Don't turn this into a project or a performance. Treat it as a kindness to your own heart. When you catch yourself dismissing your progress, brushing it off like it doesn't count, pause. Whisper to yourself, God saw that. God is proud of me. I don't have to erase what I've grown. And when shame comes back with its sharp accusations, when you feel that old heaviness trying to drag you under, slow your breathing and remember, shame yells, real love speaks quietly. Choose the quieter voice. Choose the voice that leads you into calm, not chaos. Choose me. Choose the voice inside that brings you toward peace, not punishment. Now let's arrive at this moment together the way we began, close, unhurried, safe. You are not required to carry every burden at the same time. You are not required to solve your entire life before you sleep. Right now, you are only asked to be here. Inhale gently. Hold. Exhale. Notice your shoulders loosening a little. Let the tension on your forehead release. Uncurl your hands. You are not being graded in this moment. You are not in danger of being disqualified. You are simply being loved. I am proud of you for simply showing up to this space, for letting yourself listen, for daring to hope again. And I am not going anywhere. I am present not only when you succeed, but when you're exhausted, when you're confused, when you're learning new patterns, when you are gathering the pieces of your life and building again from what broke. Stay near. Let me carry, for a while, the pride you can't yet feel for yourself. As you breathe, receive this steady truth: you are changing. You are becoming more grounded. You are not walking this alone. I am with you. Now, let your heart unclench. Let it rest. Simply rest. Tell me, beloved child, what did you move through today that you almost canceled, almost avoided, almost talked yourself out of? What quiet step did you take while your hands trembled and your voice almost shook? I know you're dismissing it already. I know part of you is saying, it's nothing. Other people do bigger things. I should have already done this years ago. I am not talking to the version of you that cuts everything down to size. I am talking to the real you, the worn-out you who still tries, the you who has been holding up so much weight with almost no one truly seeing the load you carry. Come a little closer. Let the volume of the world turn down for a moment. Let your mind stop jumping 10 steps ahead. I want what I'm saying to reach deeper than a passing thought. Hear me clearly, I am proud of you for that one thing. Yes, that one. The thing you did with shaky courage. The thing you did without any guarantee of applause. The thing you did even though some part of you wondered if it would even matter. I witnessed it. I watched you rise when staying down felt easier. I noticed when you chose patience where irritation would have felt so justified. I watched you be honest when hiding your feelings might have protected you from discomfort. I saw you try again when disappointment made you feel small and foolish for hoping. And I was proud, not from some cold distance, not like a critic handing out scores, but with a close, warm, steady pride, the way a loving parent watches a child stand back up, again and again, learning to walk on legs that still wobble. You don't have to argue that it was hard. You don't need to convince me it cost you something. I already know the price. It cost you comfort. It cost you the safety of what you already knew, even if it was hurting you. It cost you staying wrapped in patterns that felt survivable, simply because they were familiar. And in spite of that, you chose differently. That is why I call it courage. Not because the action looked dramatic, but because inside, it was a quiet rebellion against the old way. Courage, for you, is not standing on a stage shouting. Courage is your slow breath when anxiety tries to spiral out of control. Courage is the soft tone you use when pain wants to lash out. Courage is setting a boundary even when everything in you fears rejection. Courage is deciding to stop and rest and not punish yourself for needing it. Courage is choosing what is healthy over what feels like home but keeps draining you. And today, you were brave in exactly those ways. I also see the questions echoing inside you even in the middle of doing the right thing. Was that enough? Did I get it right? Do I deserve to feel good about this? Is anything really going to change? That inner voice has been with you for a long time. It was shaped in times when you had to stay hyper-alert to stay safe, when overthinking was how you tried to protect yourself, when love felt like something that had to be earned through performance, when approval was uncertain and inconsistent, when affection came with strings attached, when mistakes felt dangerous rather than human. So you learned to demand perfection from yourself before anyone else could judge you. You trained yourself to be harsh on you so no one else could surprise you with their harshness. You shrank your own joy before life had a chance to disappoint you. I understand. That is why I speak softly now, not to push you harder, but to mend something inside. You may not realize it, but you are not just a spectator to words like these, you are woven into a larger story of healing. Your willingness to listen, to open your heart again, helps keep this work alive, not by money, not by performance, but by your simple presence, your quiet yes. This space will always be a place you can come back to freely. Thank you for holding it with your attention, with your courage to keep going. My child, I am proud of you for what you did today because this is how real healing begins. Not in spectacular, movie scene moments. Not in flawless overnight transformation. Healing usually starts with one small, brave shift in the middle of an ordinary day. It starts when you respond differently than you used to, when you decide not to betray your own heart again, when you refuse to leave yourself behind in order to keep everyone else comfortable. That is exactly what you did, whether you fully see it or not, and I want to call it what it is so you stop treating it like it's nothing. Maybe your brave act was showing up to a space, a conversation, a commitment when everything in you wanted to disappear. Maybe it was saying, "I'm sorry," without drowning in self-hatred. Maybe it was extending forgiveness but also keeping a safe distance so the harm could not continue. Maybe it was finally walking away from something that left you empty, even though a piece of you still longed to stay. Maybe it was dusting off an old practice, a healthy habit, a dream you buried, and starting again after telling yourself you were already too late. Maybe it was simply telling the truth about how exhausted you really are. Maybe it was asking for help instead of hiding behind, "I'm fine." Whatever it was, I witnessed it. It mattered. I know another part of you whispers, but I still don't feel strong. I still feel messy. I still have days I fall apart. And I say, strength was never about never feeling heavy. Real strength is how you hold what weighs on you without letting it turn you cruel. It is keeping your heart from hardening, even when fear begs you to shut down. It is choosing the next honest step even with tears close to the surface. This is who you are, whether you recognize it or not. This is what I'm proud of. Let me guide you into a kinder way of seeing your life. You've been counting your worth by quick results, by what changes immediately, by what the world can easily measure, by what others can point to and say, "Look, you did something important." But the kind of growth I'm naming in you often stays hidden for a long time, like a seed buried beneath soil. Imagine that, a single seed. On the surface, it looks powerless, unimpressive, almost nothing. It doesn't resemble the forest it could become, the shade it will someday give, the nourishment it may one day offer. Yet everything it's meant to be is already inside. The step you took today is like that. It may look small to you, but it carries weight within it. You have planted something new. You planted a different pattern. You planted a new way of responding. You planted a deeper way of honoring your own heart. You planted a boundary that protects what is sacred in you. You planted a fragile but real trust that life can be lived differently. And now you're staring at the ground of your daily life, muttering, "Nothing is happening." But I am telling you, something is happening. Quietly. Patiently. Faithfully. This is how a life is remade, not by fear shouting at you to hurry, not by shame punishing you into change, but by small, faithful choices, repeated with gentleness again and again. That is why I am proud of you. You are beginning to live from the inside out. You are slowly learning to choose. Calm over frantic proving. You are learning to choose what is true over what pleases everyone else. You are learning to choose rest over endless striving to be enough. You may not realize it, but that is rare. Many people cycle through the same pain because it's what they know. But you are becoming aware. You are starting to see your own patterns. You notice the moment before you spiral, and sometimes, even if only for a breath, you pause. You are learning to say, maybe quietly, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I need. This is what I will no longer accept. Even if your voice trembled, even if it came out messy or incomplete, you still said it. That matters more than you know. And I know the weight you brought with you here. You didn't arrive light and carefree. You are carrying the fatigue of always trying to hold everything together. You are facing the nagging doubt that wonders if you'll ever do or be enough. You're dealing with the quiet ache of feeling unseen, even among people. You're nursing disappointment over hopes and prayers that took longer than you ever thought they would. You're under pressure to keep everyone around you okay, even while your own heart feels pushed to the side. And beyond all of that, you face your own mind, its loop of old mistakes, its habit of predicting disaster just to keep you prepared, its demand for absolute certainty before it will allow you to relax. I see all of it. So when I say I'm proud of you, I'm not pretending this pain doesn't exist. I'm honoring what you've managed to do within it. You didn't just take a step, you took a step while carrying all of this. That is not ordinary strength. That is a depth of strength that looks plain on the outside but shines from my view. I also know that part of you doesn't quite know what to do when someone is proud of you. You've been taught, directly or indirectly, that affection can vanish with one mistake, that praise is something you have to keep earning, that being loved is a test you can fail. So when you hear, I'm proud of you, your heart flinches and asks, is this temporary? Will this be taken away the next time I fall short? Do I have to keep performing to keep this love? Hear me clearly, no. My love is not a trophy you win. It is not a reward for perfection. It is the steady ground under your feet, before and after every success, before and after every mistake. You do not have to earn the right to be seen with kindness. You already have it. You are already held. You are already loved, right here, exactly as you are, still becoming, still learning, still healing, still brave. You are not losing. Where you are right now is not a punishment, it is the place where your life is actually being lived. My joy in you is not thin glass that breaks when you stumble. It does not fade when you feel worn out. It does not turn distant when you are confused or overwhelmed. My child, my delight in you is rooted in who you are to me and in the way you keep unfolding, even when it feels slow, even when your hands shake as you take the next step. Wobbly steps are still movement. Small shifts are still transformation. I do not mock the time it takes. I do not grow impatient at your lessons. I do not groan at your humanity. I stay near. Now let me speak gently to the part of you that cannot stop comparing, the part that whispers, look at them, they're so far ahead. Look at them, they're disciplined. Look at them, they're fearless. Beloved, you are looking at a picture without the hidden layers. You don't see the parts they carefully keep off camera. You don't hear the quiet cries they bury. You don't feel the terrors that visit them in the dark. You don't know the support and advantages they receive that you were never given. So stop judging your worth with pieces of someone else's story. I am not inviting you to clone another person's life. I am guiding you into the fullness of your own. And for you, victory might not come dressed as speed or constant productivity. It might arrive as steadiness. It might appear as inner quiet. It might show up as emotional safety you've never known before. It might look like being able to fall asleep without your thoughts attacking you. It might look like saying no without your whole body trembling afterward. It might look like laughing in a moment of goodness without scanning the horizon for disaster. These are not small things, these are real triumphs, and you are already inching in their direction. This is why I am pleased with you. Now listen closely to this. That choice you made, that step you took, that was not just another box checked off. That was an identity shift. It was you walking away from, I am always last. It was you walking away from, I am never enough. It was you loosening the grip of, I must earn every bit of love I get. And it was you moving into, I can grow. I can mend. I can choose a new pattern. I can be cherished. My child, I know those words still feel strange on your tongue, but you are practicing believing them, and that practice shapes you more than you realize. Now let me rest my hand on the fear you carry around failure. Even in your bravest moments, you brace for impact, don't you? You wait for something to go wrong. You anticipate being let down. You flinch on the inside as if life is waiting to punish you just for daring to hope. Beloved, I am not scanning your life for excuses to accuse you. I am searching for ways to reinforce you. So instead of obsessing over, what if I fail? I invite you to hold a softer question, what if I learn? What if every uncertain step is pouring wisdom into your bones? What if the awkward, clumsy experiences are carefully building your confidence? What if progress does not require perfection? You are allowed to be someone who is learning. You are allowed to grow in front of others and alone in the quiet. You are allowed to be mid-process without wearing shame like a name tag. And yes, I treasure you for choosing growth even when it feels raw and uncomfortable. Now, if you will allow me, I want to sit with the sore places, the part of you that hurts over what never came together, the part that reddens with embarrassment over how much you dared to hope, the part that wonders if your heart feels too delicate for this world. No, my child, your heart is not too much. Your heart is rare. It has walked through fires that could have turned many people bitter and closed, and yet you are still able to love. You are still able to stay soft in a harsh world. You are still able to feel with others, to care about what is right, to want goodness for people. That is not a flaw. That is a kind of radiance. And I honor you for not letting pain sculpt you into someone you were never meant to be. Now I ask you to take this in without debating it. Do not argue with it using your memories, your logic, or the harsh voice inside you. Let it rest on you like gentle warmth. My child, I rejoice in you for the choices you've made, for reaching toward the harder, better way, for choosing honesty over pretense, for choosing growth over stagnation, for choosing peace over chaos. Even if no crowd applauded. Even if no one noticed. Even if it looked insignificant from the outside. I saw it. And I want to name what I see forming in you. I see a deepening steadiness, not a numb heart, but a grounded one that can feel fully and still stay afloat. I see a growing discernment, the capacity to notice what is harmful or unhealthy without poisoning yourself with hatred. I see maturity, the ability to answer life with thoughtfulness instead of immediate panic. I see self-regard, the decision to treat your own being as worthy of patience, rest, and care. These are not loud, flashy traits, my child, but they are pillars that will sustain you in every chapter. Now let me speak about the tempo of your journey. You keep telling yourself you're late, that you've missed some invisible deadline. But I see you mending at the speed your heart can safely handle. If you sprinted through this, you would shatter. So do not rush your becoming. Do not scold yourself for your pace. A seed does not force itself into a towering tree by panicking, it stretches upward because it receives what it needs. In the same way, you are receiving what you need, truth that clears the fog, boundaries that protect your soul, rest that untangles your nerves, honest prayers that open your heart, small brave decisions that rewrite old patterns. All of this is nourishment. All of this is movement. And I take joy in watching you grow. If you're unsure what to do next, keep it gentle. Not as a task list to prove your worth, but as an act of kindness toward yourself. When you catch yourself dismissing your own progress, pause and whisper, God noticed this. God delights in this. I do not need to erase what is changing in me. And when you feel yourself sinking back into shame, slow down your breathing and remember, shame is loud and harsh, love is quiet and kind. Choose the quieter voice. Choose my voice. Choose the guidance that draws you toward peace rather than panic. And now, my child, let us close the way we began, near, calm, safe. You do not have to carry every concern at the same time. You do not have to plan out your entire life before you sleep. Just be right here for a moment. Inhale slowly. Hold the breath briefly. Exhale. Let your shoulders loosen. Let your jaw unclench. Let your hands release their tight grip. You are not being scored or graded right now. You are being held in love. My child, I am grateful you chose this step, and I am not going anywhere. I remain with you when you shine and when you're exhausted, when you're confident and when you're uncertain, when you're rebuilding what was broken and relearning how to live. Stay near. Let me carry the pride you cannot yet feel for yourself. And as you breathe, let this quiet reality settle inside you. You are changing. You are becoming more grounded. You are not abandoned. I am here. Let your heart lean into that and rest. Just rest. Amen.